Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Three-Man Weave, live here from a virtually empty Rose Garden. The Hoosiers, their first NCAA tournament victory since 2006, 79-66 winners over New Mexico State tonight. And really, it was a high-paced game, but it favored right into the Hoosiers' hands. They, I guess, turned the ball over less than the Aggies, you would say, and were able to convert a lot of those Aggie turnovers into points. Pretty balanced effort. Jordan Hulse, 22 points, hit some timely threes in the second half to extend the lead to double figures. And now a team that made it to the Final Four last year, Virginia Commonwealth, awaits IU on Saturday evening. Connor, it was Hulse in the second half, but it was Cody Zeller at the start, and then it was also Cody Zeller then at the end when New Mexico State started making that run in the second half.
Yeah, really impressive defensive performance by Zeller. If you look at the game plan coming in, what New Mexico State was going to try and do was going to be to try and get Zeller in foul trouble. They were going to try and really attack the post and use their size to their advantage. They have done that all year, and that was the expected plan for them. And Zeller really didn't get in any sort of foul trouble. Picked up 2 fouls in the first half, but really was able to get into the passing lanes and get around some of their big men. It was really nice preparation by Zeller. You saw him really be able to kind of maneuver and kind of outsmart, I guess, the New Mexico State post players, and that's something that from a freshman you don't see very often. To have 6 steals in a game like that is quite the stat for a kid that's 6'11". It was the most steals for an IU player in an NCAA tournament game in IU history. I think that's what the stat
since
was.
Quinn Buckner, yeah.
Yeah, Quinn Buckner had 5 in the NCAA championship game against Michigan in 1976, but really Zeller had kind of a rare performance tonight. If you look at what he was able to do against some very, very big New Mexico State post players. So really, without his performance, I don't know if IU is in the position that they are to be able to have a double-digit lead late like they did.
Yeah, he did it against Chile, Napawe, and Amadou Rahman. Those are my Don Fisher
Big
pronunciations for the game. But yeah, I mean, these are men that Cody was going up against, but he beat him down the floor routinely. Those guys look gassed throughout the game. Like somebody asked Will Sheehy after the game, did you see the New Mexico State players kind of getting into it? They're getting chippy with each other, their own players. Late in the game, you kind of see, Banja Sai and Ramadou, I think, or actually I think it was Napawe. We're getting into it a little bit late. Avi, but let's talk about the point guard. His responsibility now that Verdell Jones is out for the year is going to take on a whole nother task on Saturday, trying to deal with VCU's pressure. We'll save that for tomorrow's three-man weave. Let's talk about his effort tonight, though. He looked like the old Jordan Hulse. He just gets in that rhythm, and when I think teams like New Mexico State, who are not used to seeing IU, they're just shocked by what he can do, how quick that release is.
Yeah. Hold on, I just got to pull up the halftime stats. I mean, Jordan Hull's a guy where halftime he's got 3 points. Kind of a more solid game. It's like, okay, well,
like he has been playing lately.
Right, exactly. And then all of a sudden the second half, and conversely, our IU, I believe, had a 7-point lead going into the half. I mean, it was just kind of like they were letting New Mexico State hang around. And you kind of got the feeling that, like, in order for IU to win this game, they're going to have to grind it out, and these guys aren't going to go away. There was a while there where they were just trading buckets, and then, boom, right out of the gate, Jordan Hulse, like, almost like machine gun fires, just firing threes one after another. And before you know it, the kid's up to 15 points, finishes off with 22. I mean, this was a huge, huge game for Jordan Hulse. Shot 4 for 6 from beyond the arc, just extremely efficient. Ended up with 3 assists to 1 turnover, and 3 steals, which you always want to see out your point guard too. Shaka Smart actually had the unfortunate pleasure of sitting next to me in the closing minutes of the game, and I was kind of asking him, what's kind of sticking out to you. He said, this kid Jordan Hulse is just absolutely, shooting the lights out right now. I mean, just on fire. And so it was certainly a performance from Jordan Hulse that's a high, but it would be interesting to see if he can have that consistently, because we've seen games where, he's on, and when he's on, he's really on, and when he's not, it's a different story.
So that was a perfect example of also, just real quick, Jordan Hulse was definitely the smartest player on the floor, and I think tonight he really used that to his advantage, was able to work down and break down some of these I guess, more inexperienced defenders that he was on, and that's really what triggered his second half performance.
What an honor for Shaka Smart to sit next to the Avi Zalen as well. Jordan Hulse played 35 minutes tonight, and I think in a prior three-man weave, I think it was actually after the Wisconsin game, we kind of talked about his minutes, and I remember I said, tonight, Tom Crean is going to have to give Jordan Hulse the ball come NCAA tournament time and say, you got to play 35 minutes at least and take this team. And I think it's going to be interesting Saturday. Again, we won't look too much into VCU now, but you got to think his ball handling, his decision making has got to be the best it has been in his 3 years if IU wants to get to their first Sweet 16 since 2002. Guys, defensively, Wendell McKinnis, he again lit up the media room on Wednesday evening. He had a nice quote after the game, I think. Somebody asked him about confidence, and he just totally blew him off and said, we're confident, this and that, which I laughed about. But McKinnis, 15 and 7 tonight on 6 of 10 shooting. Those are about his averages when New Mexico State plays against NCAA tournament teams. I think the big thing for me, guys, was limiting touches for him. And Will Sheehy gave a money quote after the game, calling Wendell out for, making his little mammal tweet that he tweeted earlier in the year that no mammal can guard him. And Sheehy then, joked that Victor wasn't human, I guess. So that, to me, was the biggest thing. McKinnis, I thought, got frustrated. You could see him numerous times in the half court calling for the ball in the post, not getting it, and then just kind of that affected his play on the other end of the floor, I thought. So for me, it wasn't really the shooting percentage. He shot the ball very well, 60% from the floor, but it was limiting his touches because New Mexico State goes how Wendell goes.
Yeah, and a rare good soundbite from Will Sheehy. Kind of surprised to hear that, but the job that he and Victor Oladipo were able to do on a very good, very physical player that's able to score in a variety of places on the court, the job that they did on him tonight was impressive, and they knew coming in that this is a guy that really dictates what type of shot he gets, and as he goes, this team goes, and they really didn't let him go tonight. His points were kind of spread out too. You really didn't get even the sense that he had 15 and 7. He kind of just look up and see him there. Quiet 15 and 7 was really frustrating, and I think was a huge key for IU being able to pull away tonight.
Will Sheehy and Christian Watford, 14 points apiece. Guys, comments on those two. I thought Watford was great from the tip, and then he kind of had a lackluster maybe next 15, 20 minutes, but then made a couple big plays in the second half. And Sheehy, I thought, was very active. Probably the best game we've seen out of him in a while. Just numerous layups. And again,
right place, right time.
I think Sheehy surprises people with his athleticism. So for me, I thought Sheehy and Watford played well. Guys, any thoughts on those two?
They just came ready to play. It's kind of an underrated thing.
No, it's huge, especially in this tournament, because if you don't come ready to play, you go home.
Yeah, simple as that. And especially in a one and done. People say Christian Watford's the X factor for this team, and you know what? Tonight he came ready to go, filled the stat sheet for this team, and was really kind of the spark plug early on for this offense.
He had those two big threes early, and then
first
Halls
8 points.
Right.
Like
the stretch lead 14-4. Then Halls had those 3 threes in 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Go ahead, Avi.
Yeah, just real quick, and it helps because I was talking about, I think yesterday in the pregame, how I thought Victor Oladipo would be important, and sure enough, Victor Oladipo is pretty much solid throughout the entire game. He gets 6 points and a rebound, and you see those other guys, next one up. It's Will Sheehy, who, we're not usually expecting this kind of performance of, comes up and assists his, his sophomore teammate. Also, just putting out there, Remy Abel helping carry the load in the point guard depth. That was encouraging to see.
Yeah, 4 points, 2 assists in 17 minutes for Abel. Again, him and
Oladipo. Quality minutes.
One turnover in 17 minutes for a guy playing point guard as a freshman.
Him and Victor on Saturday afternoon, I guess afternoon here, will be a big factor in the game. So 4:10 Pacific time, 7:10 Eastern time. IU is the first game from the Rose Garden. VCU, we'll have a 3-man weave up. Probably like around dinner time tomorrow out here. I'm so confused on times. But
it's probably late. We really don't know.
Press conferences, I think, are at 4:30 Pacific time tomorrow. So
you're not going to watch it anyway.
Hopefully you do. But yeah, Shaka Smart and VCU did it again tonight, 62-59.
Barn burner.
Press just wreaked havoc. I guess good things for us is we did see 2 of the better games of the day here at the Rose Garden with Long Beach State and New Mexico, and then VCU beating Wichita State. So last thing I want to end on, I know Connor mentioned this to me before the start of the 3-man week, New Mexico State did not get in the bonus in either half.
Yeah.
And for a team that shot 300 more free throws than any other Western Athletic Conference team this year, that, I think, was the difference in the game. They only had 2 more rebounds than IU. So IU beat a bunch of men tonight. They will see a bunch of men on Saturday, but in a totally different way.
Very
VCU will come at you for 40 minutes
of
for
hell.
all 94 feet of the court. So for Connor O'Gara, Avi Zalen, I'm Kevin Bowen. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.
Shaka time tomorrow.